Good Friday, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Conversations Daily News. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. Well, we made it to the end of another week. We, of course, have your news headlines coming up on this Friday. We have the Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich, and in today's Entertainment Spotlight, being part of my conversation with Susan McClelland, the co-author of the new book, Boy from Buchenwald. Enjoy today's broadcast. For Conversations Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with your Friday headlines. In international news, Israel and Hamas agreed to ceasefire to end bloody 11-day war. Israel and Hamas announced a ceasefire on Thursday, ending a bruising 11-day war that caused widespread destruction in the Gaza Strip and brought life in much of Israel to a standstill. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office said Israel accepted the Egyptian proposal after a late-night meeting of his Security Council. Hamas quickly followed suit and said it would honor the deal. Egypt's state-run MENA news agency said the truce would take effect at 2 a.m. this morning, roughly 3 hours after the announcement. In a statement, Netanyahu's office said the Security Cabinet unanimously approved the proposal after recommendations from the military chief of staff and other top defense officials. The statement boasted of significant achievements in the operation, some of which are unprecedented, and included a veiled threat against Hamas. The agreement would close the heaviest round of fighting between the bitter enemies since a 50-day war in 2014, and once again there was no clear winner. Israel inflicted heavy damage on Hamas, but was unable to prevent the rocket fire that has disrupted life for millions of Israelis for more than a decade. The fighting began on May the 10th when Hamas militants in Gaza fired long-range missiles toward Jerusalem after days of clashes between Palestinian protesters and Israeli police at a flashpoint site that is known to Muslims as the Noble Sanctuary and to Jews as the Temple Mount. Israel launched hundreds of airstrikes during the operation, targeting what it said was Hamas military infrastructure, including a vast tunnel network. At least 230 Palestinians were killed, including 65 children and 39 women, with 1,700 people wounded, according to the Gaza Health Ministry, which does not break the numbers down into fighters and civilians. Hamas and the military group Islamic Jihad said at least 20 of their fighters were killed, while Israel said the number was at least 130. Some 58,000 Palestinians have fled their homes, many of them seeking shelter in crowded UN schools at a time of a raging coronavirus pandemic. 12 people in Israel, including a 5-year-old boy, a 16-year-old girl, and a soldier, were said to be killed. In national news, big gaps in vaccine rates across the United States worry health experts. A month after every adult in the U.S. became eligible for the vaccine, a distinct geographic pattern has emerged. The highest vaccination rates are concentrated in the Northeast, while the lowest ones are mostly in the South. Experts say the gap reflects a multitude of factors, including political leanings, religious beliefs, and education and income levels. Close to 160 million Americans, 48% of the population, have received at least one dose of a COVID-19 vaccine, and 125 million are fully vaccinated against the virus. New England and northeastern states account for 8 of the top 10 in vaccination rates, with Vermont number 1 as of last Friday, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Nearly 64% of its population has received at least one dose. 8 southern states are in the bottom 10, all of which are under 40%. Mississippi was dead last at 32%, followed by Louisiana, Alabama, Wyoming, Idaho, Tennessee, Arkansas, Georgia, West Virginia, and South Carolina. Closing the gaps is vital to controlling the virus that has now killed 588,000 people in the United States alone. In more national news, GOP not budging on infrastructure offer in Biden talks. Senate Republicans have not substantially budged off their initial $568 billion infrastructure proposal, despite overtures from the White House to work toward a compromise as President Joe Biden tries to strike a bipartisan agreement on his sweeping $2.3 trillion infrastructure plan. The lack of any sizable movement beyond the Republicans' initial proposal or any other notable changes to narrow the gap with Biden is certain to spark fresh worries from Democrats that time is slipping for a deal. In more national news, U.S. jobless claims fall again as some states end federal aid. Fewer Americans sought unemployment benefits last week, the latest encouraging sign for the rebounding U.S. economy, just as Republican-led states are moving to cut off a federal benefit for the jobless. And finally, in entertainment news, networks rely on reboots, franchises amid streaming's rise. Everything old is new again on network television and without apology. As the TV industry rushes into the future with streaming services, traditional broadcasters unveiled 2021-2022 schedules that rely heavily on familiar series brands and reboots of decades-old shows. Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. It's now time for the Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich. Mary Ellen, take it away.
Hi, this is Mary Ellen with your Truth of the Day. Create meaningful moments. Performing small, loving gestures reinforces the depth of love and care you have for someone. You may think small gestures hold less value than large ones. This is incorrect. Small gestures can carry big messages to the receivers, and you will feel inspired to do more for them. As you make it a habit to express kindness through these small, meaningful actions, your loved ones are reminded over and over again that you care. You are creating a lasting memory, much larger than the small gesture of kindness and love. At times, large gestures may fade from memory, whereas a smaller expression of love can be continued indefinitely. Today, perform a small gesture of loving kindness. As you go about to, enjoy the day.
Susan McClelland is featured in today's Entertainment Spotlight, right here on Conversations Daily News. For Conversations Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with the Entertainment Spotlight. Susan McClelland, the co-author of the new book Boy from Buchenwald, The True Story of a Holocaust Survivor, joined me recently on Conversations Live, the radio show, to talk about the story behind the book. And Robbie Wiseman, the man who lived it, here's a bit of our conversation.
Well, Susan, I have to say, when I was reading this book and prepping for this segment, the thing I thought about was it really is, for one, a testament as to true human resilience, but I think also reminds us that no matter what our age, how we can be able to make a difference. What has it been like for you to have the gift of helping to share the story with the world?
I mean, Robbie, he's 90, is just absolutely lovely. And right from the very beginning, I was drawn to do the book because of that exact topic. You know, right now, young people, even adults, are grappling with their own mental health issues and whatnot. And I just found it astonishing that of those boys, the Buchenwald boys that went to France, the rehabilitation and the process of recovery, where so many of them, of course, they were haunted by demons. I mean, Elie Wiesel, who won the Nobel Peace Prize, was one of those boys and talks about the demons that chased him his whole life. But by and large, these were boys. They'd lost their family. They faced starvation. They faced torture. They were young boys, and remember, they came from very closeted, very closed off family communities. It wasn't like today where they knew, kids know what's happening in the rest of the world. I mean, these boys, their family and their religion was their lives, and how they were able to, translate their experiences to become humanitarians, family men, grandparents, to contribute so much. And so I was just really wanting to follow that process through one of the survivors, and there's not many left.
Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. We thank you all for tuning in to this edition of Conversations Daily News. We'll have you guys on Monday with more news, Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich, and of course your Entertainment Spotlight. Until then, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Daily News today. Let's make today amazing. Take care.